Hi everyone, it's Kelly, back a month later, as promised. I have some notes today. I'm going to start off with the My Stitchy Buddy pet tag. I like tags that give me something to talk about. It's like an icebreaker sort of thing. So, this one was posted on March 9th, 2016 by a Cat Crazy Creations. It's only 7 questions, so I'm going to start with that. So question number 1 is, who is your stitchy buddy or buddies? And give them an introduction. Show them and tell a little bit about them. So Anubis and Tuna are both around right now. So I'll see if they come, but I might have to go grab them. Anubis! Psst, psst, psst. Baby, come here. Right, so you haven't met him yet. This is Anubis. He is my lover boy. He loves to cuddle and be in your lap. He loves to have his belly scratched. He's also a huge troublemaker. When he gets mad at me or stressed out, he'll attack my stuff. He's the one who snagged that stitch in the TARDIS that I talked to you about in the other video. Sorry, I've been sick, so if I sound weird or start coughing or whatever, I'm still recovering. Sorry, Anubis wants out. Hold on a second. Wait, Tuna, don't go. Okay, and then you've met Tuna. Tuna, come here. Psst, psst. But I'll talk about him a little bit, too. So this is Tuna, who we saw in the last video. He does not like to be held, like Anubis does. But he's still a lover. He likes to give headbutts as kisses. Sorry, go ahead. Go. They're just out on my deck. Yeah, so those are my babies. I love them very much. Tuna's got some health issues. I adopted him about 5 or 6 years ago now from a humane society in Pennsylvania when I still lived out there. And he's got this big bald patch on his neck, which he has had since I got him. And we asked about it at the Humane Society, and they said that he was born with a bald patch on his neck, which was strange. And he had some scratches on his ears. And we were like, what's going on here? And they said that he had a food allergy and that he couldn't have any grains or anything. So he has to eat like the fancy cat food. So we got the type that they were feeding him. And he came home and he scratched himself to bits, like all over his neck and his ears and his head, and it was horrible. So we tried other grain-free foods, kibble, wet, whatever, and nothing was working. We found out just by process of elimination that he also has a poultry allergy, so we can't have anything with chicken in it or duck or anything like that. We had a little bit of success feeding him venison, but what we've got now is just wet food, and it's a canned rabbit formula, which is very expensive. But we used to have to put those plastic nail caps on his feet, which was fun times, because no matter what we did with any of the food that we had, he would just scratch himself all up. It was horrible. But after we switched to the rabbit, he's been fine. He hasn't had to have the nail caps on or anything like that, and he's not itchy anymore. But it also, whatever his allergies are, it's not only a skin allergy, but it's like an internal inflammation issue also. So he has to be on little kitty steroids forever, which is upsetting. I don't like using drugs as the only option because, you know, there are side effects and stuff. But it's the only thing we could do, and he's happier now than he has ever been since I've had him. So that's fine. Okay. Where does your stitchy buddy hang out while you stitch? So I stitch in this recliner right here, and I have the Needlework System 4 stand here, as well as the lap stand that I created that you saw in the last video. So when I'm stitching, I'll use this as a prop. When I'm stitching, and I have this in my lap, or my stand is here, and it's being held with the arm from the top, Anubis likes to just lay in my lap. I have some funny pictures of that occurring which I will attempt to insert, I guess, here. I don't really do editing. Not that I'm incapable of it. I could just see myself wasting days on end just trying to perfect videos, so I'm not going to do it. But Anubis will sit in my lap underneath where I'm stitching. And Tuna usually props himself on one of the arms of the chair. Okay. When you start working on your stitching, how long does it take for your stitchy buddy to show up? It depends on what time of day it is. Sometimes they're elsewhere napping, but I'd say usually 10 to 15 minutes, just long enough so they know that I'm going to be there for a good long while and I'm not going to move. What does your stitchy buddy do to get your attention while you're stitching? Okay, I'm going to read 4, 5, and 6 of this and then explain to you what Anubis does because it fits into all 3 of these questions. So that was number 4. What does your stitchy buddy do to get your attention while you're stitching? Number 5 is, of all your cross-stitch supplies, which one or ones does your stitchy buddy enjoy playing with or napping on? And number 6 is, what is the one thing that your stitchy buddy does that irritates you while you're stitching? And this is all Anubis, and it's all the same thing. Tuna doesn't interfere. He just sits on the arm of the chair and likes to be close to me while I'm stitching. The only way that he kind of gets in the way is he's in my elbow room, and I stitch two-handed. So the arm that's on top, if he's on that side, he's kind of in the way. So I end up stitching at a weird angle because I'm not going to move him. That's just ridiculous. But Anubis, who likes to lay in my lap, he attacks the string and the needle when it's on the underside of my work, because that's what's above his head. So as the needle's going down through, he'll try and like paw at it, and whenever I bring it back up and there's a loop of thread on the bottom, he'll grab it with his teeth as I'm trying to pull it up through my work. So I have to stop and then lift it up so I can see what's going on, and then extract my floss from his teeth. So there's not only my spit, but my cat's spit. And, you know, hair in my work as well. It doesn't look as bad as that sounds, I promise. I pick the cat hair out as best I can as I go. And then number 7 is, give one word that describes your stitchy buddy. My cats have different personalities, so I don't think I could describe them in one word. But you know, they're my loves. They're my babies. I'm glad that they sit with me while I stitch. I'm happy that they're there, even if it, you know, maybe takes a little longer to stitch with them in my presence. It doesn't matter. I like to be comfy, cozy, and have little warmers, little purring warmers near me when I stitch. Okay, so that was the tag. In the last video, my whip, the only thing that I was working on was the Merlin whip. And I just had Gaius left to go. And now I have 2 FFOs, and you're thinking, what do you mean? You only had 1 whip. How can you have 2 FFOs? And that's because I just made a cool fridge magnet that I'm going to show you. But Merlin's done also, so don't look. Alright, I just ended up framing Merlin the same way that I did the Storytime Classics. 1, because it's like a 10 by 10. It's a weird size for a frame, and I am not going to get this custom framed. So I just kind of, you know, stapled it to the back of a piece of canvas like I did with the other one. I'm not in love with it. Just like the other time. And you can see why, because Gaius, when I finished him, got lost in this navy blue fabric, which in hindsight I should have realized when I started it, but that was years ago and I don't remember my line of thinking there. But they're done. They're adorable. For Gaius, I just did like a little line of back stitching all around him, so he popped out a little bit, but I wasn't about to like recolor that whole robe because I just wanted this thing to be done. But so I'll kind of give you some close-ups. I can get the camera situated. All right, so that's Gaius. Nope, this way. There's Guinevere, King Uther, and Morgana. And then up at the top here is Merlin and Prince Arthur. And then the logo is right there in the middle. This logo is the only metallic work that I've ever done to date. It's just like the DMC gold, regular light effects, whatever. I don't remember hating it. I did it years ago, so I don't know. They look good. They're all lying flat and stuff. It feels cool. I have plans to use many more metallics in the future, but that's all I've done. So this is finished, hanging on my wall in my bedroom. And then my second FFO, where to put it, is this. And I just remembered that I forgot to look up the website that I did this on. It's just, I made it into a magnet. This little fridge magnet, September 2016. It's a kitten! And it says Vapid Fluff. This was from an article that I had saved. Give me a minute. It was about the Subversive cross-stitch book. And this designer designed this little pattern specifically for the website that was doing the article. But I want to tell you what it is, so if you want to do it, you can. I'm just going to keep talking while I'm Googling to try and make this a little more interesting as I go. I guess I should type in cross-stitch at the end of that Google search. I'll find it, I promise. Almost there. Autostraddle.com is where I found this. The article is called Subversive Stitching, A New Twist on an Old Tradition by Hannah Clay Wareham. Don't know. But it's a funny article, and it's talking about, I don't know if you can see this, that subversive cross-stitch book that exists out in the world that you can buy if you want to. This guy, left hand. This guy is very tame for some of the stuff that you might see in that book. It's not for everybody. If you're easily offended, please don't buy that book and blame it on me. But you know, it's funny if you're into that sort of stuff. I don't think that I'd ever stitch something to like hang on the wall from that book or whatever, but like fridge magnets or like silly gifts for my siblings or something who get that sense of humor, I might consider it. I don't own the book, but like I said, that Vapid Fluff pattern was free on that Autostraddle website. So if you want to do it, you can, and it doesn't have any like DMC color codes or anything like that. I just picked, you know, the colors that I thought matched out of my collection and just stitched it up. It doesn't matter. It's a tiny little thing. I just turned it into a magnet. So Merlin and my fridge magnet are my two finishes. And then I told you in the last video that I was going to work on a couple of gifts for people as my next projects that I had coming up. So the first one of those is a digital pattern from Clouds Factory. It's the Star Trek pillow sampler, Spock. And, oh my god, I'm so bad at this, guys. That is what it will look like when it's finished. It's just got like 4 or 5 blues and gray colors in it, so it shouldn't take too long. This is the only one that I have that has any sort of deadline attached to it. I have to finish it by Christmas. So, let me show you where I got. And I'm just stitching this on that MCG Textiles 28 count even weave, which I've heard horror stories about, so I'm just using the entire piece of it instead of cutting just, you know, how much I need. So this is more than enough fabric, but I figure if it's cut crooked or whatever, then I won't have to deal with it. If I have the whole piece, I'll just cut it away when I sew it. when it's all finished stitching, so I don't run out of room. So this is how far I got. I got about half of Spock done. Right now I've only used this dark blue color. I think it's like 280 or something like that. Does it matter? Do you care? 820. A little dyslexia there. So he's coming along nicely. He looks cool. I don't know if this is a weird thing with me, but like I didn't wash this fabric or anything like that, and I think it smells great. It's got like a musty, I don't know what smell, but I enjoy smelling it when I'm stitching on it at the same time. I told you I was an odd duck. Alright, and then that little needle minder, I made myself because that reminded me of my kitties and I wanted to have it. So that's there. Spock pillow sampler. I am going to turn it into a pillow for her. I think I'm going to make like a zippered pillowcase that fits just like a square. Couch pillow, throw pillow, that's what they're called. So that's that. That's project number 1. The second gift that I'm doing is for my dad. His hobby is to make custom fishing rods and make like tie flies and create like lures and stuff. So I think I saw this on Pinterest at first, and I tracked down the magazine that it was from. So it's just, let's see if I can get it a little bit closer. It's got a bunch of different flies and lures on it. And I'm going to get it I think I'm going to get it professionally matted and framed so we can hang it in his little area where he creates all that stuff. So this is from a magazine. I don't know if this is the name of the pattern going fishing or if that's just what they call the article. I call it Flies and Lures. I don't know what the actual pattern's called. But it's in this Cross Stitching Country Crafts magazine from July, August of 1992. I think I bought this off of somebody who had it on Etsy for like a few bucks. So I'm working on it. It's got I'm not very far. It's a little intimidating, but I think I've got a good handle on it. It's got a ton of blended filament in it and stuff. So, but I mean, it's a pretty simple pattern, so I feel like it'll be good practice to do other stuff. It's not, there's a bunch of Krennic and stuff in there, so I'll show you how far I've gotten. Not very. I've got the words done, and I'm starting on the first little guy down below here. It's a rather, it's not a gigantic pattern or anything like that, but it's 3/2, which kind of annoys me because I like to do the loop method, and you can't do the loop method with 3 strands, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that doesn't make sense. So I'm doing it. I'm plugging along. I like how the 3/2 looks, but there's there's a ton of back stitching in it too, because you do the 3/2 and then each one of these letters here had its own back stitch around it. And it makes it look really cool and really pop, but it takes a while to do. And I've got a cool little needle minder on there. I'm not going to tell you, every place that I got my needle minders, because I don't remember. But if you see that one, it's pretty great. Flies and Lures for my dad. And then the third one that I'm working on is this Mirabilia pattern. I've never done one of these before. You know that because I've showed you everything that I've done to date, and it's not much. This is called Rose of Sharon, and I'm going to do it for my mom. The only thing that I want to change is she's a blonde, and I want to make her a brunette, because brunettes and redheads, that's how my family goes. So I thought that would just kind of be like a cool little personal touch. But I'm doing this for my mom because growing up right outside of our front porch, we had a Rose of Sharon bush. And when they built our house, or were, I don't remember the details, putting on the porch or moving the porch or something, they dropped it on our Rose of Sharon bush. So it was like half crushed. But it was a pretty bush. So I'm going to do this for my mom. And I don't even know why I'm showing you my progress, because it's like nothing. I just kind of wanted to get where, you know, the center of the pattern was so I could start. So, and this is on linen, which I've never stitched on before. I'm kind of an even weave gal. So, I understand. I know everyone says this, but now I understand why you guys have so much trouble with this kind of stuff, because it's big and awkward. So I've only done those couple of stitches there. And my pretty little bee needle minder. So that's it. This one is on, so I had the needlework system 4 stand, which I talked about or told you that I had it. And I have the Q-snap frame, which is on it right now. That's what I have. I don't like to switch out frames, so I like to have like the number of projects for the frames that I have. So I have Q-snap, so I can do a couple in hand, but I prefer to have a stand. This one goes on the Q-snap stand there. So that's there, and then you can just switch out the whole stand and not have to, you know, like pop it off or whatever. This is the scroll frame one. I'm not super into scroll frames, but I have a couple of larger projects, and I don't like the prospect of snapping my Q-snap over like a big bunch of rolled fabric, or if I have to do like beading or something like that. For some of the projects that I have, I like the idea of rolling it up instead of like squashing it under something. So I do have the scroll frame, and I just want to do a little shout out to Daryl at the Needlework System 4. I think he's like just the guy who makes them. I don't even know if they have a company or if it's just like a dude in his garage. But I bought this stand, the whole stand here, in January of 2015, I think. And I bought the Q-snap stand frame with it. I got the scroll frame more recently, a few months ago or something, I don't remember. And I was working, what did I have on here? I don't know what I had on here. Maybe it was Merlin. I had them on the scroll frame. Obviously, it was much smaller. This is adjustable, anywhere from like 12 to like 21 inches or something like that will fit the scroll bars. So I think I had Merlin on here. And when I first put it on, I thought I was just being stupid, because I attached the scroll rod and I was rolling it up, and this front bar would sit at like a drastic angle, and it would run into one of these little pieces up here, and it just wasn't sitting flat. And you're supposed to, you know, be able to turn your work like the full 360 degrees so you can get to the back of your work, and mine was like rubbing up here on this thing. And if you look at the bars, I'm getting a little technical now, I don't even know if you guys care, but if you look at the bars here, you'll see that this bar obviously sits above this bar here. That's how they adjust. They just slide in there. But on the frame that I got, it was the same length on the sides. So the one that sat up higher here was higher here also. So whenever you attached it, this part to the frame here, it all just kind of tweaked it at a weird angle, and it was not correct. So I thought I was just being stupid having put it together wrong, but I emailed him with some pictures, and he said that he thinks he put it together wrong. And so he sent me a new one, and then had me ship my other one back to him in that same box, and he like printed me a UPS shipping label that I just had to attach to it, and the guy came up and picked it right picked it up right from my door. And this is the one that he sent me. And as you can see, it's all straight and even and great. And so I just thought that was really cool. You know, like, these are the people who make doing our hobby easy when customer service is that good. So I spent, the Needlework System 4 is not a cheap stand. I spent a bunch of money on it. So even though I'm not thrilled with the scroll frame on here, I really like even tension. So it bugs me that I can't get even tension on the sides to like pull it tight. So I bought these. They look like suspenders, but they're little like side Velcro clips that you can put around your fabric and then pull it tight with these little suspender clip looking dealios there. It didn't really work on this because my fabric's so wide. And I'm not going to spend the money to get the even bigger scroll frame because I don't use it that often. But I did buy just some larger scroll rods because this isn't at the full size that it can get. And I'm hoping that they fit because they're not the brand that is made for this, but you know, it's just like a wing nut that holds it on there. So we'll see. I haven't experimented with it. But thank you, Daryl, for your excellent customer service. And I just thought that was really cool that he did that. And it was so easy. Like, I didn't even have to leave my house. And I had a new one within a couple of days. Just going to check my notes here and see what I didn't talk about. Okay, so I'm doing these 3 projects. And like I said before, rotations aren't really my thing because I don't stitch every day, so I feel like each project wouldn't get the same amount of stitching anyway. But I realized that I'm doing these 3 projects and not a single one of them is for me. What's with that? So, I mean, I have a lot of patterns and stuff that I'm working on kitting up in the process. A couple of them are even ready to go. I'm just not quite ready to jump off the deep end with them because they're rather large. But I bought the Lakeside Needlecraft, it's Needlecraft, right? Needlecraft Stitch Along, the fantasy one, because it's adorable, that thing. Oh my goodness. So I bought it. And, you know, I have the whole DMC collection, so I could go ahead and start stitching on it. But I'm having doubts about the fabric because I like hand-dyed fabric, and I kind of want to get an opalescent one with, like, blues and lilacs and things in it. But I haven't found one that I like yet. And, you know, fabric's expensive, and I need, like, a whole big piece of it. So I haven't started that either. But I am a member. I joined their Facebook page, but I haven't put a single stitch into it yet. So that might be happening soon. I don't know if I find a fabric that I like. And then I went on vacation to Arizona, to the Phoenix area, and I stopped at a needle workshop in Scottsdale. It was the Old Town Needlework, Needlepoint Cross-Stitching Custom Framing Shop. And I just went in there. I wish I could have spent longer in there because, like I said in the last video, I don't have an LNS, so it was nice. I wish I had one of them near me. But they had a bunch of fabrics and stuff on sale, and I kind of picked this one up, but it's too much. It's too intense. I need like a more muted purple for the fantasy Sal. But you know, it's cool. I'll definitely use it for something. It's very wrinkly, so I don't know if you can even like see it well. But it's a nifty fabric. So I'll use that for something. I wish I had a fabric stash that I could just pick from, but fabric's expensive. And so I kind of just get it as I go. So that's the only piece of fabric in my stash at current. And then they had this, and I've seen this around Flosstube before. I don't remember who was stitching on it. But it's Praiseworthy Stitches, Widow Black's B&B. It's like a haunted house. They had it stitched up in the Old Town Needleworks shop. And they had the pattern, and they had the bead pack. all right there in front of me. And the fabric. So I have everything I need to start this one, but it's pretty big, but it looked so amazing stitched. Like, I don't think that the picture on the front of this thing does it justice. Like, if I saw this on the internet, I'd be like, yeah, okay, like, it's neat and everything, but I don't know. But when you see it in person, and it's like, it's big and impressive, and I love it. And this fabric is really cool. So it's going to look awesome. I'm not saying I'm starting this year or anything, but I'm saying I have it, and one day I will do it. I haven't done any Halloween cross stitches, and I love Halloween, so it will be fun. So that's sort of like a little mini haul. I mean, I've got a ton of patterns and stuff, and I've bought patterns since we've talked, but I feel like I could do a separate video about all of that kind of stuff. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about was just a fiasco that I had the other day. Well, I was on vacation. It wasn't the other day. It was like 2 weeks ago. But I was stitching on the Flies and Lures stitch for my dad, and I was using my Needlework System 4 stand. And my eyes do not like dim lighting. I get headaches, things go fuzzy. It's not something that I can really deal with. And so whenever I'm stitching, I am willing to spend the money that I need to spend to get good lighting conditions. So I have this stand that's actually lighting my face right now, that I just bought off of Amazon. It was one of those like daylight lamps, which is great, but it's like a big old lamp, and it's got like a big base, and sometimes you can't like saddle it up, slide it up to right where you need it to be in your stitching. And the head's flexible, but it's not as flexible as I'd like it to be. I think I spent like $30 on the lamp or something, and I use the lamp when I'm like in my bedroom or something, because I can just slide it right up to the side of my bed, and that works fine whenever I'm using like my lap stand. But for my Needlework System 4 stand, there's a lot going on there, especially when you have it, pulled up to the recliner. Like, you kind of trapped yourself in there. And I really don't need another floor stand trapping me further in my little stitchy area. So I bought, and this is an expensive lamp. So if you start Googling this after, like, just know that going into it. This is not something that, and I'm not recommending that everyone does this or anything, but if you have eyes that are sensitive to light, it might be something to consider. But I bought the Stella Edge clamp lamp from the Stella Lighting Company, and I bought it off of Amazon, and I think I spent like almost $180 on it, just full disclosure. And it's a cool lamp. I can clamp it right onto the, right onto this like little, where am I going? Here. This little base of my lamp, and then it like shoots out over top of my work, so it's facing me, and it's heading in the same direction as like the arm, so I don't have to worry about being, beside me, taking up more room. So I bought that lamp, and I was stitching on the Flies and Lures thing for my dad like 2 weeks ago. And I was finished, so I turned the lamp off, and it all just runs off of like a little remote control. There's no switch on the lamp itself. It's just this little magnetic control that like attaches to the base of the lamp and plugs into the wall. And I turned it off with the remote control, and I pull my stand out, and I went to sit it back over here where it lives. And all of a sudden, it started flickering on and off. And then it went out, and smoke started coming out of the top of the lamp head. And so I unplugged it, and I was like, oh, I'm not, not trying to turn this on again. Like, that's not really something that I want to be messing around with, starting a small fire in my living room. So I unplugged it, and I emailed the Stella Lighting Company because I had bought it off of Amazon. So I wasn't sure, like, the warranty had expired off of Amazon. I had owned it for longer than that. I didn't have any of the original packaging material or any, like, warranty information or anything. So I emailed the company, and I think he's just like the manager or something of the company, emailed me back, and he said that I could ship it back to them, and they would do a repair or a replacement, and that they would credit me back the amount that I had paid for shipping to get it to them. So that was fine. I packed it up, sent it off via UPS, and that was about, I don't know. It was at least 2 weeks ago, and I haven't heard back from them. So I sent them a follow-up email today, and I was expecting the lamp to be here by the time I got back from vacation, but it has not arrived. So I've had some customer servicey sort of dilemmas lately, but if all works out with that Stella lighting company, that's pretty cool also, that I bought it from a third party, from Amazon. All I had was my Amazon invoice, and they're still honoring the warranty and backing their products and stuff like that. So I'll keep you up to date on that situation. I hope I get it back. Right now I just have like this like clamp light, that little silver thing. You can see it there, and it is not doing a good job for me. I like having that little clamp light on like my lap stand, or if I'm working on something in hand, I can just clamp it right to the Q-snap and like direct to the light right where I need it to be. But when you're working on something big on that stand, it's just not sufficient for me and my eyeballs. So that's what's going on with me. I think that's all that I had to share with you today. So I will see you in another month's time. Hope you enjoyed the video. I feel like I've had some technical difficulties, so I'm getting a little burned out here on this one. But I will talk to you guys soon, and thanks for watching. Bye.